Just picture this for a second. You're dangling 2,000 feet in the air, and beneath your feet, it's not solid ground. It's just a single, rusting, shaking piece of metal.
Now, this isn't some crazy hypothetical. It's a real situation where the human mind has to confront an impossible reality. Today, we're diving into an absolutely insane survival story where two friends came face to face with death in a way that, well, very few people ever have.
2,000 feet. I mean, it's a number that's just hard to wrap your head around, right? The wind up there is so strong, you feel like it could just peel you right off the structure. The cars on the ground look like tiny little ants. The whole world just becomes a distant map.
So, to put that into perspective for you, just think about the Eiffel Tower. It's a little over 1,000 feet tall, while the B-67 Tower, where our story takes place, is nearly double that height. They were trapped at the very top of what is America's fourth tallest structure.
So you've got to be asking, why on earth would anyone even attempt something so dangerous? And, this wasn't just about some adrenaline junkies looking for a thrill. No, this story, it starts with some really deep, profound grief. So we have Becky, who is just lost in this deep depression. She'd watched her husband Dan fall to his death almost a year before this. Her best friend Hunter, she's got this idea, this belief that the only way to conquer fear is to just stare it right in the face. Their plan was to climb this colossal tower so Becky could scatter Dan's ashes from the highest point they could find, a final, symbolic goodbye. And this actually taps into a really key psychological point. When someone's going through that level of trauma, they can make choices that, to the rest of us, seem completely illogical, totally insane. They were essentially gambling with death, pushing themselves toward a point of no return. And here's the thing, the danger was not subtle. This tower was basically a skeleton, a sleeping giant just left to rust away in the desert. The metal pipes were corroded, nuts and bolts were missing everywhere, and there were huge signs literally screaming danger. But driven by all that emotion, they just ignored every single warning. So, with nothing but ropes and the whole lot of sheer will, they start climbing. And let me tell you, the climb itself was a total nightmare. But what was waiting for them at the top? Well, that was about to turn this nightmare into an actual living hell. 4 hours, 4 agonizing hours of climbing, fighting against rattling stairs and loose bolts, and they finally made it. They're standing on this tiny little triangular platform. Seriously, it's smaller than most kitchen tables, with the entire world stretched out below them. And for just a moment, they must have felt this incredible sense of victory. Okay, so they scatter the ashes, they snap a few of those "I can't believe we did this" selfies, and then they decide to head down. And just as Becky takes that first step, that's when they hear it. This horrible, sickening crack of metal that just cuts through the silence. The entire top section of the ladder just rips away from the tower's main mast and plummets 2,000 feet to the ground below. Their one and only way down, it was just gone, vanished. They were literally prisoners in the sky. So, trapped on that tiny platform, you can imagine pure panic sets in. And what happens next is just this cascade of desperate attempts to get help, and each one fails more tragically than the one before it. Okay, first thing right, what would you do? You'd grab your phone. A quick call, a text for help. This should have been the easy part. But of course, science had other plans. Turns out, cell towers broadcast their signal down towards the ground, not 2,000 feet up in the air. Their phones just said no signal. So in this last-ditch effort, they actually put a phone inside a shoe, thinking maybe, just maybe, it'll survive the drop. But nope, from that height, the impact is like a bomb going off. The phone was just vaporized. All right, so they're getting dehydrated, hope is fading fast, when they find this little emergency box on the tower. And inside, a flare gun, a literal beacon of hope. And then, as if on cue, they see people down below. This is it, right? This has to be their rescue. They fire the flare, the people look up, they see them, they even pull out binoculars. Becky and Hunter are screaming their lungs out. And what happens next is it's just unbelievably cruel. The people on the ground realize they're trapped, and they break into their car, steal it, and just drive away. I mean, can you imagine? Their hope in other people is just completely shattered. So, it's back to technology, one last time. Hunter has a drone, but of course she does. and of course, the battery is dead. But this is where they get incredibly resourceful. Hunter literally risks getting electrocuted to jerry-rig a charger from the tower's warning light. And it works. They tape a help note to it, fly it towards this little motel nearby. They're watching the video feed, it's getting closer, closer, and then just out of nowhere, a semi-truck comes along and completely demolishes it.
So that's it. Every single hope they had is gone. Dehydration is really setting in now, and their bodies and their minds are starting to break. And this, right here, is where the story takes a really, really dark turn. So Becky remembers their backpack. It has one last bottle of water in it, but it's stuck on a satellite dish way down below. She watches as Hunter does this incredibly brave thing. She rappels down, swinging in the wind. It's a terrifying struggle. But then she sees it. Hunter grabs the bag, climbs all the way back up, and collapses on the platform. They've done it. They drink the water, and it must have felt like heaven. A new lease on life. But then, a little later, Becky just happens to look down at that same satellite dish again. And something is just horribly wrong, because what she sees down there, it completely shatters her entire reality. The truth, the awful, horrifying truth, was that Hunter never made it back. Her rope snapped. She fell to her death on that antenna. For 2 full days, Becky had been completely, utterly alone up there. The friend she'd been talking to, the one who gave her strength to keep going, it was all a hallucination. Just a survival mechanism her brain created to stop her from going insane from the trauma. So now, Becky has to face this devastating truth. She's at rock bottom, but then the ghost of her friend, the hallucination, gives her one final, absolutely gruesome idea for how to survive. The plan, it's just unthinkable. First, she has to rappel down to her friend's body. Then she has to get the phone out of Hunter's shoe. But here's the part that's just horrific. To make sure the phone would survive the 2,000-foot fall, she had to use her friend's body to cushion the impact. She literally placed the phone inside a wound from the fall, typed out an SOS to her dad, and then she pushed. And it worked. The body absorbed the shock of the impact. The phone survived the fall. It hit the ground, and for just 1 second, it got a signal. Just long enough to send that message. And a few hours later, the sound of sirens filled the desert. Becky was saved. Today, that B-67 tower is still standing out there, like this chilling monument. It's got a new, impenetrable fence around it now. And the warning sign, it's a tribute to Hunter, but it's also a stark reminder. And it leaves you with this really deep question, right? When you're pushed to the absolute edge, what are you truly capable of doing just to survive?